recording this video after close trade Tuesday, 7th of May 2013. Well, we're up in the 20s, 1621 was closed, 1.3 million contracts traded. After yesterday, it was an incredibly quiet day. Only 0.8 million contracts traded. The range was tiny. It was very slow. I actually ended up trading for maybe 45 minutes, but then it was so slow I just stopped. I tend to make mistakes on days like that, so got out at break even, kind of left it at that. And with this kind of move up here, you know, it's a gap up into above the 1600 range. Gaps are interesting. Trend moves can start and finish with kind of gapping moves. So, you know, back here we've got a gap and go, I call this. So the market kind of bottoms, get a strong bullish day, and then we gap up. The kind of euphoria kind of overtakes, and people kind of anxious to get in the market, and the market kind of gaps up and then gets going. And then something like this, we get a final bout of kind of hysteria, euphoria, if you like. This might be professional buying, and this might be amateur buying up here, where we kind of gap up, and potentially we've got a little bit of an island reversal to be made. So, you know, whether the gap gets filled, whether that's kind of the blow-off move where it kind of corrects and kind of goes the other way. But, you know, in the background, we've got these incredibly, you know, bullish stories. We've got central banks now buying equities. So the report came out a couple of days ago. We've got Bank of Japan, Bank of Israel, Swiss Central Bank, and the Czech Central Bank were all named as central banks that are buying equities, and they're buying US equities. So in those cases, it kind of depresses their currency, and they're hoping to get a little bit of travel on the US dollar going up and the yields to be had in the US market. And they're buying the SPY. So, you know, although you think, well, they're buying the index, the money does end up flowing into the S&P because the SPY has to distribute the money equally amongst the S&P 500 components, and the whole market ends up going up. I don't know what you think about central bank buying of equities. I think, you know, we're well through the looking glass here. We're like, you know, this is nutty type stuff. But, you know, that's what we've got. I can rage against it, but, you know, that's what's happening. So, you know, saying that we're going to correct, or this is the end of the bull move or whatever is really tricky to say, particularly when we've got those things going on, because they'll support the market. I don't know why they don't just give the money away. Just, you know, why do we have to go through this pretense of buying the equity market, which really just helps the 1% or the 10%, because, you know, those are the people that are invested in the equities market. You know, why don't we divvy out the money equally to everybody, so everybody gets a shot, you know? But anyway, it is what it is. Yesterday, put out a long, very, very long video. Got some great comments on the Aussie dollar, so thank you for that. And yesterday afternoon, the Aussie dollar got slammed. We went through this 102 level, kind of important level, because the RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, cut rates by 0.25%. Yesterday, the economy in Australia is pretty weak, and the Reserve Bank here, our central bank, is trying to push down the Aussie dollar and kind of stimulate the economy here. So on the daily chart, you can see that was yesterday's move, pretty slammed down through the support level here. Parity is the important level versus the US dollar. Once we kind of get through that, you know, all of a sudden things will start to accelerate. But that was an important kind of day. These things are never kind of straight moves, but you know, we've had our exhaustion buying, and this is the professionals selling down. We came back into the zone, this sell zone, where the professionals were selling it down with amateur up bars, and bang, couldn't make any progress. That's kind of a no demand type stuff. And then, you know, we sold it down. We came through support here, so hopefully we're breaking, well, you know, if you're short the Aussie dollar, we should be breaking into a downtrend on the Aussie dollar here. Just looking around at the other currencies, it's interesting, over the last couple of days we've got these amateur bars here, 2 amateur bars on the dollar index, and it's a little bit of a wedge pattern here. So what were the professionals doing? This is kind of the question over the last few days. Last week we had these blue professional up bars, and I've been kind of bullish on the US dollar for a while, so I'm guessing that's kind of anxiousness on the part of the professionals to buy that little dip, kind of get on board, and this hopefully will be a little bit of a bull flag, and we'll kind of break out of that back up and test back up to 83s. But let's wait and see. The highs and lows of that blue professional bar is kind of critical. If we drop through the lows, then, you know, we're potentially into a downtrend here. But, you know, if we keep breaking through the highs and keep on breaking up, that was professionals buying that little, anxious to kind of buy that little dip, and the the US dollar will kind of strengthen. Canadian dollar kept on going up. Yesterday we got this amateur up bar, should have turned around really at this resistance point here, so, you know, jury's out on that. pound. So we've had a pullback to end of trend sequence with blue professional bars kind of taking profits up here. Yesterday today we kind of went through. We had an amateur up bar and then a down bar. So hopefully we're swinging down with the cyclical energy on that. And the euro is like the dollar index at the moment, just a inverted pattern. We've got this blue professional down bar. So the professionals kind of selling down, I think, in that move. Then we've got a little bit of consolidation here, this kind of bear flag potentially, and we need continuation down to kind of through 130 will give me kind of confidence that the euro is kind of selling off. But let's wait and see. That blue professional bar, the last one's kind of, this one's gap, kind of anxious to buy it. We kept on going through, come back to test the high of that kind of blue professional bar, kind of keep on going through. But here with the news that Draghi had, his kind of press conference the other day, potentially they were kind of selling it down. So let's see where that goes. Japanese yen, we've traveled so far with parity down here is an important level. Let's wait and see. We could be finding a little bit of a low here. We could be, following through, keep on going down. Japanese stock market's going up like a bloody rocket, but a lot of it's being kind of taken away by how the currency is declining. So, just in terms of markets, I'm thinking that we've, this uptrend move in the bonds ought to reassert itself. This was a strong down day. It was just like the dollar index type day. Hopefully that was professionals kind of buying the little dip down. With amateur bar followed it up. We're kind of through the lows. Let's see if this kind of catches. We kind of head back up, but it does kind of require the stock market to start to weaken for the money to kind of start flowing back into bonds. And gold, we put in our pullback levels, so we finally kind of had all this amateur kind of activity, little up bars into this pullback level, so we should be going pullback to end of trend on gold. Silver's not kind of printed there yet. We've got cyclical turn on crude oil kind of happening. Silver should be rolling over. We should get that pullback and a downtrend kind of signal going off. So I think that trend's going to reassert itself. This was big kind of selling on the downside. So let's see, where the gold and silver market starts to find a bottom kind of there. But we should get that kind of move down with pullback to end of trend. So there we go. Just a little bit of a spin around the other kind of markets, and they've kind of gone a little bit counter the trend that I think ought to be kind of reasserting itself, which is kind of risk off. But we've got all this central bank buying, and the market keeps on going up, so it's kind of frustrating me a little bit. And here's a better X trend. So we kind of reasserted ourselves into an uptrend here. We got the trailing stop kind of following after these 2 or 3 kind of exhaustion type days. Let's see what goes. And this was an interesting chart. So I referenced the average trade size chart a few days ago, and thinking that we were had enough at kind of 1590. We had all these blue professional bars here, and then they gapped it through into the 1600s. And just for me, over the last 3 days, I mean, look at all these blue professional bars kind of going off. This isn't Better Pro-Am. This is another algorithm I use for average trade size. A lot of kind of high average trade size going on throughout the day. So what I'm doing is I'm comparing different time points during each of those days and looking back over history and seeing what the average trade size, and if it kind of sticks out on that particular day, that's kind of a high average trade size for that, in this particular case a 45-minute bar. So there's a lot going on there. Trend oscillators, they turned over a few days ago, but we just gapped up through here, so taking quite a lot of heat on this kind of short signal. Let's see where it goes. Today's activity, 9.59, so it looked strong, but it was kind of net selling in terms of what the trend values, adjusted trend values are doing. Negative values are selling values on the adjusted trend here, so we'll see. So, long-term chart, 40,500 tip bar chart. When I spoke about this last time, I was saying, we'd had our end of trend and this exhaustion pattern, bearish divergence. I was saying, let's go through some cyclical activity, and then, for a downtrend, we need the break of support levels to go on. The support level came in with blue professional bars. We raced away, bang, and we've broken into another uptrend above resistance here. But we got some blue professional bars kind of going on here. The 13,500 showed some, not on the 40,000 today. We're in an uptrend. We've got to put in another pullback to end of trend kind of sequence here, and look to see if we kind of break the support levels and bearish divergence kind of comes in. I'm waiting for this kind of crack, this kind of turn, but as I said, it's not happened yet. In terms of my trading today, got to say it was pretty ordinary. Got long at the beginning of the day, but then as soon as we had professional bars kind of come in, I got out with just a half-point loss on my first trade here, and got short straight away. And it was a nice little trade short. I was short at 16.75 and looking for 12.75, and then got kind of cocky, and I decided to get out with 2.5 points at 14.25, and I thought I'd re-enter when the thing kind of continued down. Well, it continued down almost immediately, and so I kind of got in short again, but my entry wasn't as good, and kind of lost a point on that re-entry. And this straight shot down, I would have been out with my 4 points at 12.75, and I should have been happy and done for the day. And we got within a quarter point of my new target, and we reversed and kind of went the other way. And I was expecting this to kind of come back down because we had amateur up bars and so on, and no, didn't want to. So ended up kind of crashing out of that trade with a 2-point loss, and so I quit the day kind of break even at that point. But it was dumb trading. Shouldn't have, if you got the trend direction right, and I was right in terms of this move down, just hold on until you hit your target. I always say that, but don't always do it. What was interesting for me today was these turning points. It wasn't an exhaustion selling, but it was RAMBO patterns. We had RAMBO patterns in here and RAMBO patterns in here. The amateurs, and me, once this market kind of turn and crash and go the other way, and so the amateurs were selling it at these points, and then we just reversed and taken up into the highs. At the end of the day, we had blue professional bars. We didn't have blue professional bars into here. We had them at the kind of breakout level here. So let's wait and see if and when this turns around. It might take a little bit of time, just because we got all this kind of support going on. But the RAMBO patterns here and here that showed me that the amateurs wanted this thing to break and turn into a downtrend, and it just did not want to do that, and the professionals wanted it to go higher, so that's what it did. Anyway, a little bit frustrating, as I'm sure you can hear it in my voice in recording this video, but we'll see where it goes. I think the next couple of days might be interesting. Anyway, hope your trading's going well.